Okay, we're gonna look at doing more of this. I've mounted the camera to see where it goes, and it looks like this. Pointed up because it's more level when it's traveling like that, which it is if it's going fast, which of course will be going fast. All right, and then I was looking at how then do I get the wires from this motor to that board. They've got to be soldered on to the front there. It's actually this that gets soldered on. Those get soldered to this here, and then these wires go to that. And so I have to route them such that they fit with this camera in place there. So not yet, but pretty quick. So I'm thinking that I'm going to take this board out and look at it. It's the positive wire that's underneath and the negative wire that's the closest to the corner. What I'm thinking here is that this can go in on that side. But if these are going to go through the inside, they are flat going sideways. I'm back again. This is quite the project. I have decided which way to route the wires, and it looks like this. So I've taped those two ESCs on where I think they have to be. I can run just one wire around that outside edge of where the camera goes. It's got to go on the inside. The other ones would have too much of a kink, in my opinion, which doesn't count for anything because never done this before, and so how would I know? But that looks reasonable to me. So that's that, and then so I'm running on the inside wire is the positive wire here, and the positive wire is on the underside, on the inside, and the ground is on the outside. So this one works great. This one, they have to cross inside because the positive one is on the inside and the ground is on the outside. So they'll cross and get soldered on right there. I've cut these to length. They get soldered on the top right here. On here it says M4. So, and that's right, because this is motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, motor 4. So this one is M4 and this one is M2, and so the black one will get soldered to the ground and the white one will get soldered to M2. And here on the outside of that post it'll be the same way, the white one to M4 and the black one to the ground. So now I have to determine the length of all 4 of these and cut them. Then I'll do the same calculation and figuring for this back side and temporarily mount the motors there and get them all cut to the right length there as well. They won't be as hard because they don't have to go around these things. So that's where I am there. It will be nice to have it held so I can tin everything. So once I get everything figured out and the wires all cut, then I will tin the contacts that I'm going to use. And right now I think that's these 8. And this one is the power in, and that one. And then there are 3 right here. And I have to do the jumper here to make that be 3.5 volt, because 3.3 volts, because my receiver from the radio is 3.5 volts, so I have to jumper it to those 2 to get that to be right. That's these 2 out here, that one and that one, and then this is, I have to be able to read those, but those are the 3 pieces that come in from the receiver, which are these 3 right here. So I have to figure that out. I think those 3 wires come through on this side, so we tin them and we poke them through on this side and jumper the 2 on the right to get the right voltage. Not jumper, but short them between, just put a bridge. Is that called a jumper? Sort of, I think. And then those 3 wires will stick through right here, and I think we drop a tiny bit of solder on the tips, heat it on this side to get them to stick in there real good, and then I have to weld solder on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 here, 9 here, plus those 3 and the bridge or jumper or whatever they call it. And I think that's the main work of the whole thing. It's taken me an unbelievable amount of time to figure all that out. Then we have the other thing that has to be done then at that point is when I put the power one on here and here from the battery, I also will be soldering in this pigtail for the transmitter, for the video transmitter. That'll go there and there also, right with the battery, so it gets battery voltage. This converts it to 12 volt and sends it to my transmitter. It sends the video to the radio, to the Fat Sharks. That's assuming I have it all figured out right. Okay, I'm going to figure out the wires for the back and get everything cut, and then I'll videotape tinning. Got 10 minutes of practice. I'm a little nervous about doing this on my project because I live out in the middle of nowhere, and if I screw something up, I won't be going back to town for possibly days, and I want to fly. Okay, so I've tinned these wires, all of these. I don't know how good a job I did. I've never done that before, but it looks pretty much like the pictures. I kept thinking I was going to get better, and I think I actually got worse the more I did. I guess I picked up a bad habit somewhere along the line and propagated it. Here's the board, and I've got a real issue here. I don't know what this glossy stuff is that's around, but see how shiny that is? I can't get, I didn't even try that one. I can't get the solder to stick to the ground one. It just isn't going to stick. And I noticed that on some of the builds, they don't tell you to, they tell you not to put the ground on there. That would be this ground. But some of them tell you to. But if that's not going to go on there, if that's not going to accept solder, I don't know what to think about that. I'll try it again when I'm soldering them on to see if it'll go on then. But short of that, and this side doesn't look too bad. I have cut all of the wires to length. This is the board, and I've got all of these tinned. I had a very difficult time with the ground ports for the little wires on the flight control on the ESCs, because the tin wouldn't stick. They look terrible. I don't know if they're going to work, but it is what it is at this point. I've got to check for all these little dots. I washed it with isopropyl alcohol and a toothbrush. I've got tin on, solder on all of the places where I need to go. This is the top of the board, and that right there says M4, so that's correct. This is motor 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On the reverse side, motor 4 gets soldered on over here. This is the power board side, and this is the positive side of the power in, and this is the positive and negative for the power for the motors on this side. And because it's on the bottom, oh, and there's a jumper right here for 3.3 volts, and I have to put little wires in those 3 slots right there for, I don't even know if I was supposed to tin those or not. I've got a little spot of tin on them, but I don't know if I can get the wires in there. Something else I have to learn. But in the meantime, I'm going to solder up the power that goes on the back side of the board, and then I'm going to find out, I know that those 3 right there are the ones that go to the serial receiver, 3.3 volt auto bind Spectrum FPV Racing serial receiver. And so these 3 go to those, and they get, so I have to take one end of this off and strip it and stick it in there, and I got to figure out the length first. But that's where I am right now. I got those tinned. I got the ends of all of these wires tinned here for the motors. I think I just heard a tone that says I might have learned how to charge up my LiPo battery.